So let's take a look at our calendar of events, or event block. Here on the calendar of events page, you notice how I have this event block displayed as a grid format. So it has all the different dates and the different categories displayed above with the appropriate events below. There's also another option to display your events, and that's your list of events, and you can have them displayed in a list format. This is great for allowing your visitors to be able to print out your list of events. Most often, our clients have both the event calendar as well as the list of events displayed. Now that we've seen the format in which you can have them, let's take a look at our test page and adding in an event. We're actually going to go to our test page 2 so that we can see how to add the event block in. So I'm going to log in first. And at the top of my page, I'm going to select Add Event Block. By selecting Add Event Block, I'm able to put in my event block and give it a title. So here I've selected to put in my title. That is an optional feature. I then have my event display properties. I can choose to select the events by date or manually. I often choose by date because this automatically adds in the newest events rather than having it manually selected. When you want to pull out only a couple events, you choose the manual selection, whereas if you choose by date, you're able to put in all the most upcoming events. So then I can restrict my category just as I did for my news block. Again, when selecting your categories, you select what categories of events you want to display. Selecting none of them will display all of them. So I can choose to only display my special events, or I can choose to display only my special events and my T events. But if I want to display all of them, I unselect all of them and I let them all be displayed. Now I have two different options for my presentation. Just as we saw earlier, I can do it in a list format, or I can do it in a calendar format. I'm going to choose calendar, but let's take a look at the list parameters. You can choose a range in which you want to have your events displayed as a list. You can choose up to 1 year. Quite often I recommend 1 or 3 months for people to display because you don't want too long of a page where people have to scroll for too far. So you can choose 3 months and you can choose to show the summaries. When you're in a calendar view, there's no need for restricting the time period or allowing for summaries because you're in a grid format. So you can have this collapsible if appropriate, and you can have it half width if necessary. I do not recommend a half width for your calendar, but you can have it for your list view. So we're going to leave this as active and we're going to hit submit. Now I've added in my calendar block, or excuse me, event block. Let's take a look at how this looks. So there are my different categories across the top, as well as my event block title, and then I have my different events viewable. I can edit those events and I can modify them as necessary. Let's also take a look at adding my event block as a list. So again, I can put in my title. I'm going to title this event block 2. I can choose by date, I can restrict my categories, and then I can choose my presentation to be a list. Here I'm going to modify it for to be 1 month because I have a lot of events going on in 1 month. I do want my summaries available, and now I'm going to hit submit. Generally, it is not best to do both your list and your calendar format on the same page, but for illustration purposes, I'm going to show you by putting them on the same page. Once that's put into place, I scroll down to the bottom, and there's my event block 2 with my items listed. Again, it is best to usually have one of these on a page at a time. Next, we'll cover how to add an event into your event block.